Sorry, I know how much you want to be with me. You have to wait.
Everyone, that does mean welcome in Swahili, so once those gates open, we'll be able to go head on in there.
5 wide. Just had to get on this one.
Yeah, you'll be on 2 and 1.
Oh, 5 wide.
How many guys? 5.
5. You're really close to me.
As they sit here in Harambe, everyone, Twin Day, that means let's go. El Jumbo, everyone, my name is Melissa. I'll be your safari guide here today as we do make our way through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. If you look above you, you'll find an animal spotting guide that's going to give you an idea of some of those animals we may be able to find while we're out there. As well, if you have those cameras, now is a great time to go ahead and pull those cameras out, get them ready to go. That's because I'm not able to stop for all animals, and those animals, they're going to be on the move as well. So you want to be able to get the best photos that you possibly can get. Now, while we're out there, it is important to remember that everyone does remain in those seats, keeping all arms, legs, everything inside the truck. There's going to be a lot of rough roads and a lot of bushes with long thorns. Now, looks like we're just going to have to wait for some clearance once we head on up here, just to make sure that we can enter into the reserve once that warden tells us it's okay. While we're hanging out here, kind of curious, is this actually anybody's first safari ever? Yeah, it looks like a lot of return riders. All right, well, hey, welcome back. What animals do we really want to see while we're out there? Giraffe. Giraffe, I hear.
Elephant.
Elephants, I hear.
Rhino.
Rhino.
We can see Fenway if we see hippo. Whale.
I mean, we'll definitely see some dirt. I can guarantee you we'll see lots and lots of dirt.
I like dirt.
Dirt's easy to see.
I am.
Those animals sometimes, though, they're a little challenging. Which actually looks like we do have clearance now. Speaking of sometimes, they are a little challenging to see. We're going to start our journey in the Little Ituri Forest, where animals, they actually do have really good camouflage, so you're going to want to use those extra good animal spotting eyes. You're going to want to look literally everywhere. That means possibly behind the trees, behind the bushes, maybe even in those bushes. You just never really know where those animals will be. When they have camouflage, it definitely has a different element. Although it looks like actually a couple animals over here on the left. That reddish colored animal, that is a bongo, also known as the ghost of the forest because generally well hidden and can maneuver through the brush very quietly. That tan colored animal looks like there's actually 2 of them. Those are greater kudu, second tallest antelope species, standing around 5 feet tall at the shoulder. Different animal though over here on the right, that brown bodied animal with those black and white stripes, that is an okapi. Okapi certainly look like they could be related to zebra. They are, however, the only living relative of the giraffe. The okapi was also so well camouflaged, so reclusive, the Western world did not discover it until 1901. Ooh, look way up on this hillside, way over there to the left. Does everyone see there is a black rhino? I want to take a peek here because I think once we get to this hillside, we might not get a good view again. Now, black rhinos, they are extremely rare to see. That's because they're critically endangered. There's only around 5,000 left of them in the wild. That is entirely because of humankind. Humans, many cultures, they unfortunately think that there is medicinal value in those horns. That's not the case at all. Those horns, they're actually made of keratin. It's the same material as our hair and fingernails, so there's no medical benefit. It's just a very sad reason why those animals are slaughtered every single year.
He's up on the hill,
Black
but you
rhinos
can't see him.
specifically, they do weigh around 3,000 pounds. They have a pretty unsightly lip, looks similar to a hook or arrow, acts similar to our hand, just allows them to eat from the brush a lot easier. A little bit of a fun fact about rhinos, though, the term rhinoceros is a Greek word. It means nose horn. So they're literally named for what they're known for. But I don't think I'm really finding too many other animals here in the forest. I have an idea, though. I don't think I heard anyone say it, but anyone here like hippo?
Hippos.
Yeah? Alright, let's go see if we can try to find some then. We're gonna head towards the Safi River. It's usually a great place to try to find some hippos since there's lots of water there. They are, after all, a water-dwelling animal. And hippos, they can be a little tricky to find, so once we get to the Safi, you're gonna want to look for something that looks like a giant rock. Especially if it looks like that giant rock is moving or blowing bubbles. And I say you really want to look in the water because during the daytime, that's normally where they are, and they can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes. So we'll go ahead and cruise along here, see what we find.
Come here, hippos.
Looks like they're way to the sharp right, but that's not the best view. So I'm going to continue following the Safi. It is so long, I'm hoping we'll be able to find some more. Now, if you were to come back in the evening and the nighttime, you might notice that hippos, they're actually going to be out of the water. That's because they're nocturnal. That's when they forage for food. Oh, what it looks like coming down here was a great idea, too. I see lots more here on the left. You can actually say you're currently looking at a bloated hippo. That's what you call them when they're in groups together, just like they are here.
Bunch of fat whales.
Now, when they're in bloats, they will communicate with each other as well. Those communications are called weeshawks. Lots of pink-backed pelicans here on this island to the left, and oh my goodness, okay. We're gonna be passing this nest all the way on the right side of this island. I definitely just saw a pelican chick. I saw a little head pop up, so look under the pelican on that nest. You might be able to get a quick glimpse of a chick there. Oh, I'm thinking the angle might not be so good anymore. Now, pink-backed pelicans, they may look a little gray right now, but during mating season, they'll form a pink color on their backs. They're actually one of the smallest pelican species, even though they still have a wingspan that's around 8 feet long.
What are these dudes doing?
We're gonna go ahead and follow the Safi here some more.
What are these dudes doing?
What else we're able to find. Which it looks like actually there's some Nile crocodile here on the left. Largest crocodilian species here in Africa. They're anywhere from 16 to 20 feet in length. Nile crocodiles, they're actually an endangered species. That's for things like habitat loss and pollution. Pollution really has caused a lot of water-dwelling animals to not do so well, though. When our trash ends up in waterways, it's going to cause animals to become very sick, but in many situations, they lose their lives. Something as simple as actually taking the time to throw away our trash where it's supposed to go, those trash cans, can really immensely make a huge difference for wildlife in wild places. Now, you may notice some of the plant life around here is slowly starting to change. That's because we are headed for an ecosystem, the savanna. It's where a lot of those famous animals will call themselves home. Pretty cool tree, though, coming up here on the right. This is a baobab. It may look like it's growing upside down, but it is, in fact, growing right side up. It's leafless 9 months out of the year. That's a way to preserve water. It doesn't really rain on the savanna all that often, so it's a critically important adaptation for that tree to have. Although it looks like we're in for a treat ourselves here. Nice view of the savanna from up here, a little bit of a bird's eye view. A lot of plants and animals, they do call the savanna home, and once we're at the bottom of this hill, you'll want to look towards the right. In between the two sets of really tall bushes, I do see a few gray-colored animals. Those are white-bearded wildebeest. Wildebeest, they go through one of the longest and the largest migrations of any animal, around 1.5 million. They're going to travel anywhere from 500 to 1,000 miles. Extremely well adapted for those migrations as well. Wildebeest can go up to 5 days without a single drop of water. Also coming up here on the right side are some animals with some really massive white horns. They're Ankoli cattle. They're actually the only domesticated animal on the reserve. Those horns, though, are not as heavy as you would expect them to be. They're honeycombed inside. They kind of look like a sponge. Think of them like a giant air conditioning unit. Blood flows through those horns, it cools off, and once it returns to the body, it just allows that animal to cool down as well. Here in Africa, though, we also call them the Watusi cattle, and that's because of the tribe that has domesticated them here, the Watusi tribe. Personally a fan of those brown and white ones. I think they're really beautiful. Now, if you look way back by these rocks here on the left, I do see some really rare predators. I actually don't see them on the savannah all that often. I do see some African wild dogs.
Wild dogs.
Also called painted dogs because of the unique colors they have. Wild dogs are an extremely successful pack hunter. They will chase and chase and chase their prey until their prey completely collapses from exhaustion, in which case they will then attack and finish the job. Nicknamed the painted dog because of those beautiful colors they have. No two will ever have the same exact patterns, so you can actually tell each member of a pack apart. Some really small animals over here on the left side, kind of the tan backs with the white bellies. Those are springbok. Actually, the smallest antelope species here on the reserve. They only stand around 2 to 3 feet tall. At times, they'll also do an incredibly interesting behavior called pronking. Just means they're going to leap continuously in the air. Those animals, though, here on the left that are definitely not small are those Maasai giraffe. You can tell they're Maasai because their spots are messy and irregular in appearance, unlike other giraffes, but they have a more square-shaped or defined type of marking. Tallest land mammals in the world, they'll stand anywhere from 18 to 20 feet tall. Although males typically do stand taller than females. Is there anything specifically, though, that anyone ever wanted to know about giraffe? I have a question for you then. How many of you love to sleep? Yeah. We would make terrible friends with giraffe. That's because they only sleep 30 minutes a day. Jesus. That's not even at once. That is 5 minutes at a time. And friends, I do need everyone to stay on those bottoms though, even when I do stop. Thank you so much. Now, they sleep 5 minutes at a time, 30 minutes a day. Instead, they spend most of their time eating from the undersides of trees. That's what they are incredibly well adapted to do. Not only do they have their height, they have an 18-inch long prehensile tongue. That tongue is a bluish-black color, just helps prevent sunburn, which is pretty important, considering they're going to spend most of their time awake and eating. And as tall as giraffe are, they actually only have 7 bones in their neck. That's the same amount of bones that we as humans have. Their bones are obviously just a lot larger than ours. Definitely helps to give them that height.
They're such nice animals. Where the elephants at?
Looks like we might be able to see those wildebeest just a little bit better here on the right. They're also called the new, and that's because of a sound they make that does sound similar to a new sound. They're actually named in reference to the Afrikaans term, though, meaning wild beast, and that's because of their wild appearance. Now, I think it's pretty cool that we have some awesome views of those giraffe back there, and there is no denying that giraffes are the tallest land mammals in the world. They're not the largest, though. Largest land mammals, those are actually African elephants, and I think it'd be pretty cool to say we saw the tallest and the largest. So I'm going to start making my way here towards elephant country to see if we can actually try to find some African elephants. There is an area I know about that usually attracts them, so keep those fingers crossed and hope that we'll be able to maybe find an entire herd. That would definitely be the ideal situation. That means that we would see way more than one. So we'll go ahead and start making our way there now. Once fully grown, African elephants, they are going to weigh at least 11,000 pounds. Unfortunately, though, their size has not protected them from poachers. Poachers continue to kill elephants every single year for those ivory tusks. There's no benefit to this either. The only thing it benefits is the greed of poachers and the greed alone. For that reason, it is really hoped that with conservation and education efforts, poaching can become a thing of the past. Because it's time it does become a thing of the past. If it doesn't, it's important that each and every one of us understands that poaching may actually lead to the extinction of elephants, and extinction is forever. Hopefully that's very alarming for everyone here.
Rhinos are extinct.
Now we're still headed towards that area, like I said, usually attracts elephants. Harambe Wildlife Reserve was actually created and formed in 1971. They were able to take this land, really start to protect it. We're going to be going over a bridge up ahead that was actually built in 1971 as well, just to allow travel in the reserve a little bit easier. So you'll see it looks like it definitely has some stories to tell, but the bridge, it's been here ever since, so I'm sure that we'll be fine as we cross it. You'll see, it looks old, but don't worry. See, you can even see there's a lot of rope help supporting the bridge. We'll be fine. As soon as we cross it too, we'll actually be headed towards that area that hopefully we'll have some luck in finding elephants. Definitely keep those fingers crossed. Now, as soon as we make a right, we're going to be heading into some red clay pits, and that clay generally attracts elephants. That's because they can actually use the clay to add nutrients to their diet that they might not necessarily get from the plants they eat. It's very similar to us taking a multivitamin.
Steroids?
And I'm definitely starting to see a lot of tusk marks here, so that's a great sign elephants are around. Just a matter of finding them now, which looks like I definitely see some on the left. I'm going to continue traveling, see if we can get a better view of this herd, and then I'll definitely talk more about them.
They're just chilling in the shade though. Look there. There's a baby. Big.
I think if I get around the rocks up here, we might actually get a better view.
Big puppers.
You know, it is very lucky that we have indeed found a herd. Means that we're going to see way more than one. Herds of elephants are just a little bit different though than some of the other herds we've seen. That's because they are a matriarchal society. It means that females are in charge. Usually it's the oldest, most experienced female that will lead the herd. Males are actually solitary, so at around 13 to 15 years, they're gonna leave the herd, or the herd's gonna kick them out kind of one way or the other. And the reason why it's that time frame is elephants, they do have the second longest childhood of any mammal. We as humans, we actually have the longest. When an elephant is pregnant, that pregnancy generally will last 22 months. And once they do give birth, that baby is going to be in the hundreds of pounds. Something really cool about African elephants, though, that I love to point out, their ears are in the same shape as the continent of Africa.
What?
They can actually use those ears to help cool themselves down as well. Lots of blood flows through those ears, so when they move them back and forth, it's just cooling them off. Their skin, though, is also
nice
very
water.
sensitive, so a lot of times they'll take dust and mud baths, and it acts as a sunscreen of sorts. Different type of beautiful animal, though. Coming up here on the left, lots of greater flamingo. When they hatch, they are initially gray, so they will not get those beautiful colors until they're adults. That's because of their diet that does contain a mineral responsible for those unique colors. You can actually say you're currently looking at a flamboyance as well. That's what you call a group of flamingo when they're all together, just like they are here.
They're pretty flamboyant.
Does anyone have questions about elephants? Anything we've ever wanted to know?
No.
Okay, definitely don't be afraid to ask away if you ever think of questions. We're going to go ahead and continue exploring though. I want to see what other animals we may be able to find. Hopefully some more rare and endangered ones. Plus we still need to see if we can try to find more of those animals we were hoping to see.
Lions.
Looks like we're actually going to be pretty lucky. There's a little bit of a crash of white rhino coming up on the left, and we are in some mud wallows, so it's extra cute. White rhino prefer mud wallows because not only does it help keep them cool, it can actually additionally clean their skin as well. Now, white rhino, they do weigh around 5,000 pounds once they're fully grown. It actually looks like there's a couple of younger ones over here. They can take all 5,000 of those pounds, and they're able to charge at 30 miles per hour. If for some reason one of those horns were to crack or break, they will grow back. They're not attached to their skull by any means. Not named for a color either. They're actually named for the shape of their mouth. It's very square, very wide. In Afrikaans, there is a term, "vite," that does mean wide. Over the years, vite turned into white, and the name has stuck ever since. Those little ones are very, very cute there. Now, as we do continue exploring, it is a little bit warm out there today, so great places to try to look for animals are actually in areas just like this region, just because it is very, very shady. You never know what animals might be seeking shelter in the shade to try to stay a little cool. Plus, white rhino, they were using the mud wallows to stay cool, so definitely always recommend looking in the shade and the brush. Well, I'm not seeing anything around here, so we'll head towards some copies instead. Copies are tall rocks we find on the savanna. Sometimes animals will use the copies for the vantage point it provides, but sometimes you just generally find animals around. So we'll start making our way around here so that maybe there's something on the other side that we just don't see yet. These rocks, they are so tall, it's kind of hard to see on the other side. Oh, it looks like actually that's probably going to be a great idea. I just got a glimpse of some zebra. They're going to be on the right side in this clearing.
Right side.
No two zebra will ever have the same black and white stripes, so each one does have a unique set. Zebras are also very good at defending themselves. They have a hind kick that actually could break a lion's jaw. Hopefully they won't need to defend themselves though. Their colors are called disruptive coloration, meaning when they run together as a group, it's thought to confuse predators. So predator can't tell where one starts or ends. Really is helpful for them. We'll get around these rocks though, see if we can get some other views of them from different angles.
Ostriches. Ostrich.
Oh, it actually looks like there's also a white-colored animal coming up here on the left side. That white animal is an addax. Addax normally will call desert climates their home. They actually really do not need to drink water. That's because they get most water they need from the food they eat. Looks like another one's going to be crossing the road here. Now, right now they may be white, but you would be surprised if you were to come back in winter, you'd notice they'd be completely brown. That's because they can change the color of their fur to help keep them cool or warm depending on the time of the year.
What?
Also, some brown and white animals towards the right, though. Those are bontebok, an incredibly rare antelope species. Bontebok were continuously killed for their coats and horns, and at one point, there was actually only 17 left in the wild.
What?
Now, thankfully, there's more than 17 left, but they're still, just kidding, they are back out of the road there. So we'll go ahead and slowly cruise on by.
Hi.
Also, some ostrich here, and friends, I do need everyone in those seats still. Also, looks like there's some ostrich here to the right. Now, ostriches, they are the largest flightless bird. Even though they can't fly, they can run quite fast, also incredibly strong.
Dinosaurs.
We're going to check out a newer area of the reserve, though. It's an area called Magadi, just a little newer since it's recently acquired farmland. So we'll have to cruise along here to see if maybe, and it looks like we are in luck because this is a scimitar horned oryx coming up here on the left side. Named for the horns on its head that do resemble a scimitar sword you may find in the Middle East. This animal normally would call desert climates its home. It actually can go up to 9 months without water. Capable of doing so since they will raise their internal body temperature to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Prevents the animal from sweating, which is pretty crucial in those desert climates it normally calls home since there's not a lot of water. And it does stay so hot and dry in those deserts. Well, folks, we're going to be starting to make our way here back towards the Warden's Post. But if you do wish to see more animals while you're here in Africa, definitely recommend you check out the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. There you'll be able to find animals like the lowland gorilla, as well as my personal favorite African animal, the meerkat. And if you are a wilderness explorer, the name of the safari vehicle you've been riding today is the one, the only, the Simba one. That's gonna help you get your safari badge that you'll find on page 13 of your booklet. And if you are an explorer, just make sure you're collecting those badges before the sun sets. Even though we at Kilimanjaro Safaris will continue to give tours until 11 p.m., not everything in the area will be doing the same, so you just want to double check those times as you continue to plan the rest of your adventures around here. Well, once again, my name is Melissa, and I definitely recommend you come back, take another safari with us, since no two are ever the same. You just never know what animals you're going to see or what those animals are up to while we're out there. Now it's a great time as well. Just double check where you're sitting. Make sure you have all those belongings with you. Roads, they do get pretty bumpy, so sometimes items, they may move around. And as we approach the post here, definitely not going to tell you folks goodbye. That's way too sad, way too final. Instead, I like to use the Swahili word kwaherini. Just means to go well. It's a lot less sad than saying goodbye, and if you use that while you are in Harambe, I'm sure a lot of locals will greatly appreciate that.